Hey everyone. What we're going to do now is we are going to walk through a video on how to bring a shape from the basic template to the work plane. Then we're going to learn how we can group shapes together. So for starters, we're just going to see that we have our basic work plane right now. And as shown before, we can move in, we can use our view cube in the upper left-hand corner to change the camera. We can zoom in or we can zoom out, and we can hit the home icon to get the traditional home view. Now what we're going to do is within Tinkercad, you will see that on the right-hand side, we have these shapes. So we can change what these shapes look like, and we can use alternative shapes. But for right now, we're going to stick to the basic shapes by just using the toggle down arrow. And then you can scroll down and see that there's a variety of shapes that we can use just to get started. So how you can first bring a shape from this template to the work plane is you simply click and drag it over onto the work plane. Now notice if you want to, when you move over a shape, you're going to see that you have a lot of different measurements. So you can change, like for example, the radius of your shape by using the slider, and this will give it obviously more round feeling versus square. You can also change like the length of this just to see what can be done. You can change the width, of course, as well, and the height. Now quickly, just to see how, like let's say you move this shape onto the work plane, but you didn't want it anymore. So we can simply click on the shape we don't want, and notice near the upper left-hand side, we have a delete button, which is in the form of a garbage icon. Simply click that. Now, let's go to actually creating and grouping shapes together. So if we go and take this box again and place it onto our work plane, there we go. Now let's add a second shape. So let's click and drag the sphere from the right-hand side and place it within slightly off of our box. So just to toggle around just to see, so when we use the different camera angles, we see that they're not together. So let's say we just wanted this to kind of go together, okay? So now you can just see, and I'll zoom in a little bit, just so you can see the shape is indeed touching, and we can kind of circle around and get a look and feel for it. Now, the reason why we want to group shapes is because if we went and printed this exact image right now, what would happen is it's actually going to try to print this cube and then this sphere separately. But you can imagine it's going to get ruined because they're overlapping with one another, and the 3D printer won't be able to read this accurately to create the design that you want. And of course, we want to group multiple shapes because as your designs get really complicated and diverse, we're going to have to do this more and more. So how you group shapes is you simply click on the work plane, and then you're going to drag using your mouse or trackpad over the entire shape. So just how I've click and drag so that I'm highlighting the entire shape. Once I let go, you will see that this image pops up here that tells me that I have two shapes grouped together. And then you'll see this little icon just above that shapes prompt. And it tells me when I hover over it that I can click it and it'll group my shapes. And I can also do this by clicking Control+G, but I'm just going to hit this icon. It's going to group shapes. And what you'll notice is now the shapes have changed color. And the reason it does this is to let us know that we've actually grouped as one, so that now when we go to 3D print this, you will see that these images are done. So please try to group your own shapes using the highlight tool, as well as clicking on the group icon above.